Pokemon Legends ZA was announced earlier today, and this is awesome. I had no idea this was going to be the game. I thought it was going to be Unova remakes, but it's not. But that's okay, because this game is probably going to be great. It has the potential to be the best Pokemon game of all time. But something strange about the reveal, which we got with the Legends Arceus reveal, was gameplay. We saw nothing of the actual game in this trailer, and I guess that makes sense since it's not coming out until 2025, but it would have been nice to see a few things. But the big thing that I was looking for was the reveal of the starters. Legends Arceus was a pretty crazy reveal that it would be 3 starters from different regions rather than the original Sinnoh starters, and I'm assuming that's what we're going to get again. So in this video I'm going to talk about what 3 Pokemon I think are going to be the starters for Pokemon Legends ZA. Now before we get into this, I'm going to assume that we will not be getting the Kalos starters. We will be getting Pokemon from other regions like we did last time. So before we talk about what Pokemon I think will be the starters, let's cut out some of the dead weight here. Obviously, like I just said, we will not be getting the Kalos starters as starters in this game because we'll be getting ones from other regions. 2 other groups of starters that I'm pretty keen to rule out are the Gens 1 and Gen 3 starters. So Bulbasaur, Charmander, Squirtle, and Trico, Torchic, and Mudkip. And that is because at the end of this trailer, we saw that Mega Evolution will be returning. So I believe that whatever 3 starters we get in this game will be getting Mega forms, as well as new Kalos forms for their final evolution. Now I don't know if these 2 are going to be mutually exclusive, we either get new Megas or a new form, or we get both, but I'm assuming that we will be getting Megas for the starters. So that means that those 6 Pokemon, the Gen 1 and Gen 3 starters, already have Megas, and I don't think they're going to give them more. It would be ridiculous if Charizard has 3 Megas. So I'm going to rule those 3 out, so that narrows it down pretty well. Next, I'm obviously going to rule out the Legends Arceus starters, Rowlet, Oshawott, and Cyndaquil. It wouldn't make any sense to have them back. They already got new forms, so those are also pretty easy ones to rule out. Now we still have Gens 2, 4, 5, 7, 8, and 9. Now there's actually one starter that I'm very confident will be in this game, and it is from Gen 4, and that Pokemon is Piplup. Gen 4 was not ruled out from any of the reasons I stated earlier, so I think it's a prime contender to have a starter advocate in this game, and I think Piplup is the one they're going to go with. And that is because part of Empoleon's design inspiration, and also naming, I think it's more naming, is from Napoleon Bonaparte, who is a French leader, and Kalos is based on real-life France. That's kind of my only reason for that, but again, we don't have a lot to go off here, so I'm kind of just speculating, and I'm kind of grasping for any straws I can right now, to be honest, but I think this is a decent enough explanation. Plus, Piplup is a popular starter. It's pretty cute. A lot of people like it. Now, the other 2 starters, which I did some research, and I think these are actually pretty good options, and this is assuming that we could pick from regions where previous Legend starters came from. So my first one, my pick for the grass starter is Snivy. And that is because Snivy is based, it says here, from Ken Sugimori, that he based Snivy off the Rose of Versailles, which is an anime, or a manga rather. And while all Gen 5 Pokemon, or starters, are based on Western culture, the Rose of Versailles actually has to do with France. The Rose of Versailles takes place in the 18th century and follows a young woman, born 6th and youngest daughter of an army general, who is a contender of the Royal Guard, and the story takes place before and during the French Revolution, which obviously, like I said with Piplup, this game takes place in what is basically France, so I think this is a pretty decent idea. As well, in the origin section on Bulbapedia, it says that the light it emits from its skin could also be a reference to King Louis of France, who was known as the Sun King. So I think this is also a pretty good spot, so I'm going to lock Snivy in as a starter. Now the final Pokemon, while it was kind of a last pick because I needed a fire starter, I actually did some research on this, and it isn't a bad one. It doesn't have much to do with the design or in origin like the other 2 do. It more has to do with location. And so my last Pokemon that I will be choosing is Fuecoco. I think this is a solid choice, and that is because during, the timeline of Gen 9, before the DLCs were announced, there was a lot of speculation that we would be going to Kalos, and that the top right of the map of Paldea, which is kind of like grayed out. I'll put a picture up. People thought that was Kalos. It wasn't. We don't go there ever. But it wasn't without reason, and people thought that was Kalos is because Paldea is based off Spain, mainly the Iberian Peninsula, but Spain in general. And Spain and France border each other. So it wouldn't be crazy and too far-fetched to say, oh, the Fuecoco were kind of in the land in between before the regional borders were really set up, and that maybe a few stuck in Kalos. So these are the 3 starters I will be picking: Piplup, Fuecoco, and Snivy. Again, this is purely speculation. I would be crazy if this is right, and I don't think these are terrible reasons on why these would be the starters. It's kind of a strange group, but I like it overall. If I had to pick one, I'd probably pick Fuecoco. It's the only of these starters I would pick in its native region, and also it's probably my favorite of the 3, as well as its final evolution. And I'll put some pictures on screen on what could potentially mega forms of these Pokemon would look like if they kept their original evolution, and maybe some regional variants as well for their final forms. There probably isn't a lot of fan art of regional mega evolutions, but maybe I'll try to find some. So thank you all for watching. Like and subscribe helps me out a ton, and see you in the next one.